Welcome to Cryptid Crossroads 505. I'm Larry.
And I'm Vince,
Welcome to the show.
where we talk all things cryptid,
Sasquatch,
aliens,
hauntings.
and anything paranormal you would like to share with us.
You can reach us at cryptidcrossroads505@gmail.com.
So settle in, open your mind, and enjoy the show.
Hey, welcome back to Cryptid Crossroads 505. We're doing it once again. And Vince, give him a shout out.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. Thanks for being here. Back again in the studio.
That's
A
right.
little hiatus here and there. We just can't seem to get our schedules to align, but
Yeah,
I'm on vacation this week, so we thought we'd get it done while we can.
right. We're gonna bring one to you live. Well, it's
Yeah.
not live, but we're live.
Yeah, it's live right now.
That's right. So, anyway, while we were away, I guess my brother had a chance to go up to the mountain. He went without me because, like we said last time, some of us got to work.
Yeah, and I do have a crazy schedule, so I'm off a lot of the time when he's working. So this was my first opportunity to go, so I went, even though I was going solo. And
Right.
it's always nice just to get up there.
Always. But we're going to kick it off tonight, and we'll let Vince tell us about his little endeavor up in the Jemez Mountains.
It was nice. We have a spot that we like to go to. We refer to as our spot, and we've been to different spots but for some reason this spot, I don't know if it's on a crossroads of the. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
It's that UFO above us, or else
Well, and
Uncle
I
Sam censoring us.
and I felt the vibration too. Did you feel it?
Yeah. Oh, maybe I forgot to turn off that thing in my pocket. But anyway, yeah, that spot we like to go to. I don't know if because there's a game trail there or what, but we seem to have, I don't know, strange things happen there.
Yeah.
We hear strange things, we see strange things, and we've been to other parts of the Jemez and pretty much quiet, huh? Everywhere else.
Yeah, it seems like that spot is like our hot spot. We always, like you said, we always hear something, smell something.
Right.
It's a good location. Well, we go back to where lightning struck for you. That's
Right. It's a good spot. I would say it's a great spot, so we'll just call it the G spot.
oh,
The great spot. Huh?
there you go. G stands for great people.
Great. Yeah, that's what else would it stand for?
Well, I don't know.
Okay, but anyway, back to I forgot kids are listening. But anyway, it was pretty nice. I got there. I set up. It's really damp. They've been getting a lot of rain, so it was kind of hard starting a fire. Everything's wet. I just got lucky because I had some firewood from my last trip that I took, and it was nice and dry, so that helped me. And then once I got it started, it was all right. But just sitting there, the sun had it was still going down. It was not completely dark, but I heard some barking. That's the only thing I could describe. It was barking, but it was off in the distance, and I could, even though it was off in the distance, I could tell it was this was a powerful bark. I've never heard one like this before. And then it just kept coming, like it was coming my way. I don't know if it was coming down that game trail. We'd been on it.
Yeah. Wow.
But anyway, it just started getting closer, and I was telling my brother this before we started recording that it got pretty close, and the bark is so powerful. We camp in like a little canyon, I guess. There's ridges on both sides, and that bark just filled the whole place with sound. And I don't want to sound like I watch too many documentaries or anything about, they say when you hear a Bigfoot, you hear or you feel it. Well, they call that infrasound.
Infrasound.
But when those last couple of barks that were close to me, I did feel them. And that last one, I told my brother, it startled me, and I almost tripped because I wasn't expecting it. And that little experience got me startled, and I sat there for a while thinking, what the hell did I get myself into?
Right. No, I don't know if I was there with you and I would have heard it. I would have probably freaked out too. I mean, if it freaked you out, we would have probably gave each other that.
Yeah, and you know,
that look.
It's not the first time I've been back there alone. You know, I've heard stuff, but that's the first time since my initial experience that I've been startled that much. And like I told my brother, I know it wasn't a coyote. And if it was a wolf, it must have been a very big wolf.
Well, I mean, if
But,
you feel the bark,
Right.
you know.
That's why I don't know. I honestly don't know what it was. But I stood outside for a little while longer. I think once it smelled my campsite, because I had a fire going, maybe it changed directions, didn't want to have anything to do with me, or maybe because I haven't bathed, but maybe it won't be a very tasty meal. But
Could have been that.
But anyway, after that, I stood out for a little while. Then I decided to call it a night. I was tired. I was laying in bed. I had dozed off, and something woke me up, I guess about, I don't know, 1 or 2 in the morning. It was already, you know, I turned off the lantern and it was pitch black outside, but something hit my camping trailer. And I woke up, and it took me a second to realize what woke me up, but that's what it was. I laid there for a while and I never heard anything else. So, but I don't know. It could have been something blown from a tree. I wasn't directly under the trees, but there's some that are close enough. If the wind picks up,
Right.
it might carry something. I looked around the next day, and it's all grassy and everything's real spongy. So if there's no footprints anywhere, I wouldn't even leave footprints. But I couldn't find what hit my trailer. So that was, I don't know, just, I can't say it's this or that, just something strange. You know, when it wakes you up in the middle of the night and you're the only one around for miles, it kind of seems bigger than it is sometimes.
Right. I mean, and you're out there alone, so, you know, your mind does tend to wander when, like we've told people many times, when you're out there in those woods and you're alone, it's kind of creepy. Even when you're with someone and it gets dark, it gets scary, it gets creepy, you know. And
Yep.
anyone that says it doesn't, well, let's go out there.
Yep. Let's go out there and let us leave you on the mountain for a little while.
All right. Let me come back down and get the tent I forgot, and you stay there.
Yeah. So I guess I should thank you. You were getting me used to being alone up there. Yeah, but that was pretty much it for my little experience. I only stayed 2 nights. The second night, the clouds and the lightning and thunder rolled in. It was quite the show. Even that out there, it's quite scary because it's a lot louder.
All right. No, it's
But,
because it's quiet.
But it was beautiful.
Yeah.
But it was a good trip, though, all in all.
Right. No. Well, while he was up at the mountains, I got a chance to watch a Small Town Monsters episode, and I don't know if it's an old one, but I think it's fairly new because I've never seen this one before. And they were up in the area of Mount St. Helens up in Washington. And it's a man and his wife that they say they go to the same camping spot, and they go over and over, and they've been there like 100 times is what they said. And they've never been out there looking for Bigfoot or Sasquatch, and they just go out there and they camp and they hang out, and that's where they unwind and have a good time. Well, one time they were out there, and it was during a Labor Day weekend. It was like the weekend coming up now, early end of August, 1st of September, and they were out there, you know, just doing what people do, get away one last time before they close everything up and the seasons start changing. Well, the wife had to come back down off the mountain where they were camping, and she had to work, but he stood out there, and his story is that while he was out there, he started hearing strange noises. And so he investigated the noises, and he couldn't believe what he was seeing. It was not only one, it was like a little group of Sasquatches, and they were, he said, maybe like 100 yards away, because they did the reenactment, of course. And he said he could see them clear as day. And the one he was looking at, it had reddish hair, and he said the shoulders would stick out because it would hide its face behind the tree, but the shoulders would stick out. So that's why he knew the color. And then, of course, they gauged the height, which it was maybe about 7 foot tall. But he said they habitated there for like several days. He said the first night that this occurred, he was frightened. He said it started to rain because, you know, he's like sunshine and rain up in the Pacific Northwest. They get a lot of moisture. And he said, you know, he did a good faith gesture, and he put his knife and his gun on the table. But he said he was terrified. He had never been so terrified in his life, and he didn't know what he was going to do. So, you know, he just tried to keep his cool. Eventually, he was soaking wet, and he got in the tent. And he said as he got in the tent, you know, even though he was wet, he was so frightened because you could still hear him outside moving around. And he said you could hear one over here, and he thinks they were communicating one over here. And he likened it to, and this is not trying to make fun of anybody who's hearing impaired or deaf, but he said he works with people that are deaf and have the disability. And he said when they were communicating, that's what it sounded like. And if you've heard deaf people try to talk while they're communicating, it's more like a, he said that's the sound he kept hearing between them. And that's the closest thing he could relate it to. But he was in his tent so terrified that he was sweating so much from fear. So finally, he didn't sleep, of course. So finally, when the sun came up, he came out, and he was full of fear and frustrated. And he just went out there, took off all his clothes, and he threw them in the fire and burned them. And he said he don't know why, but, you know, he said they're no good. They're wet, everything. So he's standing around in the campground naked, and he's just voicing to them that he's not afraid. He kept saying, no, I'm not afraid. No, I'm not afraid. Eventually, he says they maybe took that he put the gun and the knife to the side as good faith gesture, and they kind of calmed down, but they stood their ground and they habitated there. So it was a couple of days. His wife finally came back when she was done with work, and they stood a day or two more. And he said when she came up, she saw him, and she's like, oh my God, what's wrong? What's going on? So when he was telling her, she started to hear it. And he said for the next couple of days, he was full of fear, but she was so intrigued that he said she'd get up and make her coffee and just go sit out there and listen to him. And one day, the last day before they were leaving, he said, did you hear, as soon as he said, did you hear, one of them bust through the bushes. He said he feared for his life. He thought it was going to kill his wife. He was just full of fear. Anyway, she went to the car. They both went to the car. She got in the car, but he stood out. He said, and one would zoom by in the open field, and this one eventually retreated. He said, but they just stood there for the whole time they were camping and habitated not far from them. And when they left, they came back. I think he said like a week or sometime later. Well, when they came back, of course they saw footprints, and he left a beer can by the footprints so he could show his wife, and it was about a 14-inch track. But when they came back, there was a forest ranger at their site, and they said their site had been swept like. It was swept clean, like someone took a broom and just swept it so that down to the hard ground so you couldn't see no tracks or nothing. So, you know, lo and behold, he went on to Sasquatch Chronicles and told his story. And then he got a hold of Victor from Small Town Monsters.
Yeah.
Got a hold of him, and he told his story on an episode.
Victor or Alex?
Alex. So he told his story to Alex, and Alex was the one that was up there filming this little episode and talking to him about it, having him retell his story, and then they kind of recreated where they were hiding. But one thing he did say is when they came back, there were like 30, 40 corn cobs in that area, like they had been feeding. And he said that the area was tore up, like they were uprooting small trees and they were just destroying it. So it was an interesting story. It's interesting how it affected him, because he did have to go see therapists, and he went to the doctor, and his doctor, she believed him. She said, "Look at the hairs on your arm as you tell me about this. They were standing straight up." So, I guess for a doctor, that's a true telltale sign that you have went through some trauma. And it took him a while to get over it through counseling and his wife telling him, "No, I wasn't in danger. You were fine." Because he said when he first went on Sasquatch Chronicles, some man made a comment and they told him, "What kind of man are you to leave your wife?" And it really affected him because he thought he was a failure. So it's taken him years, but he's finally accepted it and got over it. But, medication therapy, and he said he was never looking for fame. He's still not looking for fame. He realizes that some people have these traumatic experiences with him. He just wanted to put it out there. And like he said, "I'm not looking for fame. I don't expect you to believe me. You weren't there, so don't judge me." And it was a good episode.
Do they still go out there?
They do. And he recommended that if you want to interact with them and they habitat there, to keep going back. Even though you may have one interaction, keep going back. Because if they habitat there, go to the same place, they will get used to you. And they'll get comfortable with you. And you may see them from time to time because they know you're not a threat. And we kind of said that, that where we go, they're used to us.
Right. That was our theory for a long time because we do... we take whatever we need to protect ourselves, of course, and not just because of Bigfoot, but we've seen some bear, we've seen big mountain lions up there. We've seen badgers, and man, those chipmunks get wild too.
Oh, yeah.
But we've always thought, we've had not really interactions, but we've heard them acting around us, vocalizing them. I've seen the shadows, I've seen the eyes, I've seen them shake trees, I've heard them talk, but if I told him, and if they wanted us, they would have had us by now.
Right. And he felt the same way. He said, "I knew they weren't going to kill me, although I was in fear." He said, because if they wanted us, he said, they are so big and powerful. When he saw him, he said, there would be nothing he could do. If they were going to kill him, there'd be nothing.
Right.
Yeah, he said it could happen. And his theories, he said, have they killed people? He believes that if you trek deep into the wilderness where we still haven't been out and explored, and they habitat there and you're in their territory, he thinks they're capable of killing the person.
Right, especially if I'm sure they'll try to scare you out first.
Right.
But if you don't want to leave, and maybe it's where they have the young, just like a female bear,
right.
They'll get aggressive.
Yeah, they'll hold their ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was intriguing, and it was a good story. It had my attention the whole time. It was that good of a story. I was like, wow, I haven't heard a story like that in a while.
Well, there's hope for us. Maybe they'll get used to us and we'll have a good daylight sighting.
That would
and then we could pack it up and go home. We'll sell everything.
Yeah,
no Sasquatch in Hawaii. Let's go there.
Yeah, we're done. But it was interesting to hear what he had to say and how it affected him. So, he's like, he's of the same mind as kind of we think. They're out there. People see him. And just because someone says they see him, you can't doubt him or call him a liar.
That'd be great to talk to him, though, because I'd like to pick his brain a little bit.
I would, too.
It sounds like he was around them for several days. So.
It was.
Did he say when he saw him it was day, night?
It was daylight.
Okay.
So he had interactions throughout the day.
See, that's what I would like to ask him, because we got these people who think, oh, maybe they're from a different realm, spiritually, whatever, different universe. There's all those theories. I want to know what his take is.
Well,
I would say he would say they're flesh and blood.
He would, and one of the comments he made, and he said he's heard stories of hunters that don't shoot them, and he said I know why, because he said they look like a human being, just full of hair, and that was a comment he made. He said they're a human being. He said they look like a human being. They could be another species of humans, and he said, and I could see now why hunters are reluctant to kill them or pull the trigger, because he says they do look so human.
Right.
And we've heard that since we started doing our research, and
Right.
anytime you read online, eyewitnesses will tell you they look human.
Yep. I'm just waiting for that daylight sighting, or even at night, one close enough where I get a better view.
Right. And he did say that the big one that came down the trail, he said it was a female. And, Alex asked him, how do you know it was a female? He said, you just know. It's, you could see a female walking down the street and she's a female. He said, I just knew, you could tell. He said she looked like a mother, so, and she was a little heavy set, he said, just like a mother. And he said that one had to be the female. And he said, although they say that the males are the alpha, he felt that she was the alpha there.
Wow.
Yeah.
She was the matriarch.
Yeah. He felt that she was the shot caller. And that's a different turn, but it was interesting.
And who knows the way they work? I mean, like in a pride, the lionesses, they do the hunting and stuff. Even though the guys in charge of the pride, we know who calls the shots, because I've seen videos where they'll get they'll back him in a corner.
Yeah. No. And, it was an interesting story. I would recommend that you guys find it. It's on Small Town Monsters. And they were in the Washington area. I should have wrote the name of it down. But
yeah, it shouldn't be hard to find it. If you go to YouTube, just look under Small Town Monsters and it'll have all their episodes.
Right. And I think it was, there were Sasquatch in, I wonder what that is.
That's my phone.
Oh, your phone's vibrating. The microphone's picking it up. I'm like, okay, yeah, here I'm thinking,
I told you it was that thing in my pocket.
What's going on? I think it's called Sasquatch in Mount St. Helens area, and you'll find it. Trust me. But it was good. I recommend that you watch it. The story was awesome, and he started a channel because he likes to cook barbecue, and it's Bigfoot barbecue, and
the guy that had the
yeah. So they barbecued while they were up there, and he showed you how to do some barbecue. He said he started a channel, and it's doing all right. But yeah, he just wanted to share the story and just let people know that.
Well, that would be the ultimate encounter, I think.
Yeah,
to see that live next to it for a few days and walk away,
Yeah, he said,
other than soiled underwear.
he said that they were not leaving, that was their habitat, that's where they live, and he fully understood. He said they were camped out there for a few days and they moved on. When he came back, they were gone. But to this day, he remembers like it was yesterday exactly where they all were, where he saw them. And
I would imagine that they had a couple of the adults just keeping an eye on them, though.
Oh, I'm sure.
And it's probably like when you go out camping and somebody has their dog, you're like, yeah, they're okay as long as they keep that dog in their area.
Right. Yeah. Yep. So it was interesting. It was.
Yep.
Yeah. On another note, I was just told by some coworkers that, and of course, I think I mentioned one time where I work in the building. One time, one of the girls, she went in early and she could have swore she saw me walking down the hall to my office, when all the time I wasn't there. I was home. I had just the time she saw me, I was just about to get in the shower, so I wasn't at work. But she swears she saw me. Well, they informed me that in one of my other girl's office where I work, I supervise several girls, and they were in her office. Her office got super cold, is what they told me. And we have dry erase boards, and she has the colored markers, right? And the girl sitting, she was facing her computer, and the girl sitting outside her office, facing her office, her door was open, saw one of her colored markers just lift up off the board and drop. And she left the office, and she wouldn't come back for a while. It frightened her badly. So today I asked her because they told me the story, and I said, "Hey, have you seen anything?" And she said, "I don't look that way." So I told him, put a camera, because I've talked to several other people, and back in the maintenance shop where they work on some vehicles, two guys were telling me that one time they were the only ones there over the weekend, but they swore they heard a group of people talking. So when they went in the back room to check, there was no one there. So they went about their business, and then they heard it again. And they knew, well, no one's here, just us. So when they checked, again, no one. So they said, well, let's get out of here.
Yep.
So they left. Yeah. They cut the weekend work short.
I guess maybe we got more of a tolerance for that kind of stuff.
Maybe.
That house we lived in Gallup, I guess that broke us in pretty good.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, we've told stories about the house we lived in there. It was our grandparents. He rented it first, and another cousin rented it, and I ended up buying it when I got out of the military. And hands down, that place is haunted.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, me and my first wife, we had an experience there when my daughter was born. She was a brand new baby, but we both know what we experienced, and we know what we heard. And,
Yeah.
And yeah, it scared the hell out of us.
Yeah, and I went through it for 15 years.
Right.
After a while, I guess
You become numb.
Yeah, it didn't bother me. I didn't hear it. My kids would tell me about the footsteps, or they'd hear voices, and I'd be like,
Yeah, no, I heard the footsteps while I lived there too.
Yeah.
And I used to always think it was my uncle, he's just out, trying to get in the basement or whatnot. But no, I would go outside, shoot. My wife would make me go outside, and she said, there is someone out there, you go check. So here I am, 1, 2 in the morning, going outside to look, and there's no one there, and the basement is padlocked.
yeah.
So you tell me. But yeah, that house definitely has activity.
It could have been something trying to get out of the basement.
Maybe it could have been, man.
Yeah.
It could have been.
I don't know. The people who live there now, they haven't said anything to me, but
I would casually bring it up. Maybe.
well, see, I don't want to bring it up and freak them out.
And then they move.
Yeah, then they
Shit,
move,
I lost
yeah.
my renters.
Yep.
Yeah, but no, that place definitely got some activity going on there. So while you were out there, did you see anything in the sky? Because I mean, we see shit in the sky.
No,
out there
it was
all the time.
cloudy.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, because it's still monsoon season over here, so
yeah.
it was cloudy. It was clear in the day, but we usually see our activity at night.
Yeah, no, definitely at night. And it's so, you could see the stars are so bright because there's no light pollution. You're in the forest, but where we camp, you could see the open sky. It's not canopied with like a lot of trees.
Yeah, we're in like a valley, so we're right in the middle of it.
Yeah, and you get a good view of some of the stars. And I've seen so many things that are unexplainable up in that sky. And,
Yep. Well, now with this bark, we could add one more thing that I can't explain.
Right? No, I mean, we there's a few things that have happened up there that we can't explain, but
Yeah. So I don't know if all you Bigfoot enthusiasts, you ever heard of them like barking like a dog or something?
right.
I mean, it's possible.
It is. I mean, people say they mimic birds. We even hear that they mimic human voices, calling
Yeah.
names. So to mimic a dog, I don't see why not. And campers take their dogs all the time.
Don't gorillas bark?
I don't know.
I thought they did, but it's not like it's more of the row, row.
Oh yeah, they do. They do
Yeah.
the ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gorillas
So
do.
I
that.
don't know. I don't know. I can't tell you what it is. All I know is it had a lot of power, and it startled me. I'm not going to say I got scared because I stuck it out, but it startled me.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, if you can't explain it, you can't explain it.
Yep. That's why I'm looking forward to going back.
Yeah, and that's good that you were the only person up there because you didn't have no distractions, no one out there making noise. It was just you solo.
Right. I don't know if I'd go as far as burning my clothes.
I thought about that when he said that, and he I guess he was just so frightened with fear that you know, he said the clothes they were so drenched with sweat that they were going to be no good. He said, I'd throw them all in the fire and burned them. I was like, why would you do that? And then he stood there naked, and they probably saw him there naked, and maybe they laughed and said, baby, or they said, okay, he's like us, but he's sick, no hair.
Yeah, yep.
You know, so who knows? But yeah, it was interesting. Yeah, that kind of, I was like, why would you throw your clothes in the fire?
I'm gonna go back when I get home, and I want to watch that one myself.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I would recommend you watching it. But well, you know, we thank you for tuning in and listening, and that's what we wanted to share with you tonight.
Yep.
And we hope you hit subscribe, follow us, shoot us an email.
Tell your friends, tell your mom.
That's right.
Tell everybody.
That's
and
right.
hopefully next time we come, we'll be able to make it up to the mountains, and we'll have some more stories of our own, and we'll add on to the barking. Maybe another set of ears could clarify it.
Right. So stay tuned. We'll be back. Hey, thanks for watching.
We hope all you YouTubers enjoyed the show.
That's right. And don't forget to reach out to us at cryptidcrossroads505@gmail.com.
Peace.
Peace.